everyone, my name is Emmy Kline. I am a resident artist here at JerrysArtarama, and today I want to talk to you about the Nocturne colors from the Tusc Pine oil paints. To begin with, Tusc Pine is a high-end professional oil paint line, so you're going to get really high levels of pigmentation and a really wonderful experience just because they perform so well. But these specific Nocturne colors, I wanted to talk to you because it can be a little confusing when you're just looking at the tube and not sure what you're looking at. So straight out of the tube, these colors appear almost black, but the real magic happens when you start mixing and glazing. These are called Nocturne colors because they are really inspired by the darkness of night. When we're observing those shadows and you're really looking for the different colors that are actually there, nothing is really just dark black. It's going to have all those really beautiful colors, and these are going to be the way that we can really represent them in our paintings. So let's take an in-depth look at each one of these colors. This is the Nocturne Violet, and as you can see here in the swatch where I have the mass tone, I've swatched it really thick up here and really thin down here at the bottom, and you can see that even though it's in a thinner application, that color is so pigmented and still so dark that it's just a luscious dark color. Now that color really does shine when you start to break it down with linseed oil and you start getting a glaze, and you can really see that earthy kind of purple coming through. You can also see the versatility of this color when I start mixing it with other colors like a white or even this quinacridone red. So now that this Nocturne Violet is mixed with white, you can see that it has those beautiful earthy purples kind of shining through, and this color is absolutely wonderful for like the 5 o'clock shadows or even shadows on any kind of portraiture. Now add just a little bit of quinacridone red to this. You can see how quickly this color changes to another shadowy color that is absolutely beautiful and also great for portraiture. So here we have the Nocturne Mauve, which again, the mass tone is so dark. Even at the top, it's going to be almost black, and then down here you can start to see those beautiful purples shining through. Now mix it with a little bit of linseed oil and you can really see that color come through. So now let's mix it with a little bit of the titanium white. This color just reminds me of one of those colors that I will always be reaching for whenever I'm trying to paint shadows. Or core shadows on objects. Add a little bit of this instead of black and it will deepen your colors and those values while keeping the saturation. Now I'm going to mix it with a little bit of the King's Blue Deep. Slightly bluer, still just as vibrant and still as great for shadows. Now we have the Nocturne Blue. This one is really stunning. It has such a dark mass tone, even down here at the thin application of the mass tone where you can see it's still so dark. But when you start mixing it with a little bit of linseed oil, you can see that dark, almost like an indigo blue coming through, which is just stunning for the night sky, moonlight paintings, or even dark hair that sometimes can shine kind of blue. Let's mix a little bit of the titanium white in there. It's just such a lovely blue, even when mixed with white is still so dark that you can use this for night sky painting, even ocean waves. This would be such a lovely color to utilize. The applications are endless. Now let's add a little bit of the brilliant pink to that Nocturne Blue. So here you can see the more pink I'm adding, the lighter and more purple that color is going to be, which really shows off how well this color can mix into your other additional colors and give you more versatility. So now we are moving on to the Nocturne Green. This is such a lovely color, especially when you are a plein air painter or anybody who paints landscapes. Again, at the top it's a thicker application, it's going to appear almost black. Even down here in the thinner application, it starts to show those subtle green tones. It's still really dark though. But when you add in that linseed oil, that glaze just starts turning to this really deep, beautiful green that is not really blue green. It has that more naturalistic tone to it, which is quite lovely. So let's first mix the Nocturne Green with some titanium white. So when you add titanium white to this Nocturne Green, it really reminds me of dawn, kind of right when the sunlight is starting to peek through the trees, and you have just that kind of almost foggy, hazy color to everything that is just a lovely, lovely kind of desaturated green. Now, besides using this color for the shadows of trees, if you mix it with a little bit of that yellow citron, you can start getting those highlights of trees where it actually looks like the sunshine is starting to hit the tops of all of the foliage. So as you can see here, the more yellow citron that I add to the Nocturne Green, the brighter green that you're gonna get that just really does look like sunshine hitting the top of your trees. And finally, we have our Nocturne Black pearlescent. Now this is a little bit different than the other Nocturne colors because, as you can see in the name, it has a pearlescent shimmer to it. Now that means that here in the mass tone at the top, it's really dark because it is a black color, but as we move down towards that thinner application, you're gonna get more of a transparency with it. Now that is just so you can actually see that mica shimmer kind of coming through the paint and that you don't cover it up with an opaque color. Now that is a lovely, lovely color. Now, especially when you start breaking it down with linseed oil, because then you can start getting these really lovely transparent glazes that have a shimmer to it. All right, so first we're gonna mix it with some titanium white. Now, as you can see, the tinting strength is a little bit lower because it is a transparent color. Now, the thing to note with mixing it with a titanium white is that titanium white's an opaque color, so it's now gonna kind of cover up that sparkle. So now I'm gonna mix it actually with a zinc white, which is a transparent white, so that way you'll allow that mica flake to kind of come through and still shimmer. So even though that titanium white is an opaque color, that sparkle is still going to come through to a point. Now, when you mix it with a transparent color, you're going to get even more sparkle. Now, speaking of transparent colors, I'm going to mix this Nocturne Black with the Cinnabar Green. So as you can see, adding a little bit of that Cinnabar Green light to the Nocturne Black pearlescent not only shifts that color to a beautiful green, but also still allows that sparkle to come through. So I'm admittedly obsessed with these colors. I will be having them on my palette all of the time, and I really hope you guys get a chance to get them, try them, and get to know them and love them as much as I do.